Bunzerelly Show.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, what's up?
holy what'd you think about that trailer?
Nope. The trailer actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
I actually got goosebumps watching it. And I don't know if I was excited because of the Bunzerelly show or of Spider-Man, but I think it was a little bit of both. But I definitely was just very stoked, very excited, and I definitely want to see that movie right when it comes out.
Yeah, I was not expecting that, dude. First of all, they made the Peter Parker stuff interesting again. I mean, he's it's like the perfect mix. He's nerdy, he's funny. He doesn't have that emo stuff that Andrew Garfield was doing in the second time around. He's just a likable Peter Parker, which he was in Civil War. Here's the real. Well, first of all right, Tony Stark's in it, which was cool. We were expecting that. I wasn't expecting that much. But the Vulture, I don't want to jump ahead, but the Vulture is a bottom of the barrel villain. Like, I really thought they were scraping.
I was about to say, Joe, I don't even know who that villain was. I don't even know who that was, honestly.
The Vulture is the weakest character in the comics. Like, he appeared in Spider-Man debuted. It was Amazing Fantasy 15. I think it might have been the first issue of Spider-Man, and he's a bald dude, and he just basically just flies around. And he's old. He's elderly in the comics. It's really lame. And he's never, in any iteration of him in the comics, no matter how many times they've changed him around or whatever, he's never been freaking cool. They were getting Michael Keaton. I thought Michael Keaton would be in, just make it passable, and it's not even Michael Keaton. The freaking look and everything, it's badass.
He was incredible. It really was. It's gonna be. It's definitely gonna be something. And I definitely agree with you on the Peter Parker thing. I thought he was hilarious. I really enjoyed the first scene of that trailer when it was the robbers going in there and they had the different Avengers. Yeah, and then he's like, oh, the Hulk gave it away. That made me laugh. I was like, oh, that's good. I could tell, Peter Parker is gonna be, funny. And then, like you said, I like the goth thing with, it was okay, but I definitely like this going forward.
Well, the goth stuff was okay. And it was like, I remember I went with my nephews to go see that one. I think that one was 2012, the Andrew Garfield one.
Yeah.
We went to go see that one, and we came out of it like, that was okay. I liked it. Yeah, that was, and they blew it in the second one. But like I said, even when it first came out and I saw it, it's like, I saw the trailer and I'm like, I'll give it a try because I really like Spider-Man. But this one, I'm like, oh man. And I mean, the Iron Man thing at the end was a nice treat, but that wasn't even because I didn't know if he was going to be Iron Man or not. I knew Tony Stark was going to be in it, but I was like, that was a nice treat at the end. But that wasn't even it wasn't like the Iron Man thing saved the trailer. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could have not shown Iron Man at the end, and I would have been like, wow, I really want to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a solid Spider-Man trailer.
It definitely looks great. It looks like Tony Stark is a little hard on Peter Parker. I felt like, it looks like Tony Stark wants to, mold Peter Parker to be, this perfect Avenger, and it looks like, from the trailer that, Peter's really trying to show that he's not so much rebelling, but showing that he is ready for to be a part of the Avengers when he really a lot of people in the trailer were saying he is still a kid and stuff. So
it's going to be some kind of mentor relationship. Now, I tell you what I did.
Mm-hmm.
What I really liked was because I didn't know how they were going to start it off because I was like, are they going to go over the Uncle Ben thing again? Because we all know Uncle Ben. We all know to bite by the spider. And it's like, at least from the trailer, it's like, you know what? They just throw you in the middle of it. He's Spider-Man. We all know how he became Spider-Man, whether it's whatever origin used from whatever movie. I'm sure they're going to recap it in some way, but they just went to it like, here's Spider-Man, here he is, he's Spider-Man. We don't need to see how he became Spider-Man again. And we've
already seen that.
Yeah, I mean, might need to do it just to.
Well, of course you're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, either flash through it really quick or some flashback sequence. But we don't need to see a 20 minutes of Uncle Ben having a conversation and Peter getting bit by the spider.
Yeah.
You either do it in the credits and kind of show a little cartoon thing about it or whatever they're going to do. But, I mean, I'm more than happy to just jump into this thing the way they got it set up. Like, here's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
it definitely looks good. Now, I wonder if was it the Vulture? Is that his name?
Yes.
Now, that seemed like to be the main villain of it.
Yes.
Now, do you think that there could be other?
I'm curious. Are we going to see a Harry Osborn? Because that's a big part of Spider-Man. Are we going to see a Norman Osborn?
Of course. Of course.
Those are the characters I don't know. You burned Harry twice. I mean, they blew Harry in the first trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But the first trilogy would have been solid if it was just, you had the Green Goblin stuff, the first movie. Then the second movie, you had Doc Ock, that was a solid villain. And then it was like, you had that Harry stuff happening in the background. Do you remember at the end of Spider-Man 2, when Harry throws the bomb through the wall and he sees the costume? And you're like, oh, damn, it's going down next movie. And then the third movie, it should have been Harry's movie. It should have concluded that trilogy. It should have been, I don't know if you remember, but they had the Lizard was in Spider-Man 2. What was it? It's Kurt Connors. I'm sorry. Kurt Connors, the teacher with the one arm. That was supposed to be the Lizard. And if they did it in the third movie where it was like Harry is, you have the stuff going on with Harry and Peter, the mental stuff, the whole conversation, all that stuff was good, but it was like too much other stuff going on. You had Venom and Sandman. But if you had just the Lizard, just so you have something different to look at. So you're not looking at like another Green Goblin. So you have the Lizard, but then you have the storyline, conclude that storyline correctly. And then they shoved Harry Osborn in again in the second trilogy, where you have who played Electro? Jamie Foxx. You got Jamie Foxx playing Electro, and then all of a sudden you throw Harry Osborn in there again, and they're like, it's kind of good, maybe not as good. I don't know. Can you do Harry Osborn again? You've blown it twice. I don't know. I don't know if the Green Goblin. I mean, that first Green Goblin was awesome.
Yeah, he was great. I loved the first Green Goblin was like the bomb.
Oh, yeah, William Dafoe. That's who played him, the first Green Goblin. Yeah, I don't know. I think you could do Doc Ock again. I don't think you burnt that bridge. You could really. I mean, as good as he
Doc Ock was
you
awesome.
Could do it again. Yeah, he was awesome, but you could do it again and not burn it out. I feel like. Do you think the Green Goblin's burnt out, or can they do it again and do it better?
I feel like they could do it again, and I feel like they could do it better, honestly. I love the first Green Goblin. It was one of the best characters, in my opinion, next to Doc Ock. Doc Ock being my favorite, honestly. I loved that character.
No, he was.
I feel like he was awesome. But I just feel like that third movie, like you said, the Green Goblin didn't get the credit he deserved. He didn't get that main spotlight in that movie, which I feel like was needed. And now maybe with this they could do that, but I don't know if that's the way they're going. By the trailer that we've seen, it's kind of more along the lines of like him going into the Avengers, and then I'm sure there's also twists and turns, nooks and crannies that that's going to happen. We're going to have to watch the movie for. So.
Well, as far as him being involved in the Avengers, that's easy because the Avengers are going to have these big. The next storylines coming Avengers, it's big stuff. It's Infinity War that's going to involve all the heroes. Like it's going to be Civil War times 10. Like you're going to have Doctor Strange in there. You're going to have Spider-Man will be back, and Spider-Man will just be a player in that. So that won't affect this thing. But what you do in Spider-Man's world, because now you have it's coming out to be a strong Spider-Man. That's what it's looking like to me. So if you have this strong Spider-Man and he's got some longevity, like if this Spider-Man is going to last for a while, then do the Green Goblin properly. Roll him out slowly, because that's what makes the Green Goblin good. That dynamic between the first movie got right was the dynamic between the father, Norman, and Peter. That they got right. It's like, you're my son's best friend. I have this relationship. I'm doing this Green Goblin stuff, but it's like, okay, now you're in my way, and he's conflicted. It was really done well. It's like they got it right. They got it. I'll say this: they got it perfect with Norman. 2, they had it revving up to be good with Harry, and they blew it in the 3rd. They just really rushed it, squished in Venom and Sandman. They blew it in the 3rd. They were on their way to something. But it's like, if you're going to do this Harry Norman thing, and you have this strong franchise with this new Spider-Man who's tied into this strong Marvel franchise, maybe not even do it in this one. Hopefully you don't even see Norman and Harry. I have no idea, but just do it right. Just take your time with it. That's what I think.
Yeah, if you do see them, hopefully you see them right.
You have to establish. See, the second Amazing Spider-Man 2, that one really just blew it. Because it was like, Harry came in from out, that Harry, the one, and that actor was a good actor. I can't recall his name, but it was like, hey, I'm back in town. We're best buds. And then like half an hour later, he's the Green Goblin. It was like, well, no, that wasn't. Like I said, the first movie did it better because it went over 3 movies. So it's the Green Goblin is such a big, rich storyline. It has to be done over time. They can't rush that.
I agree with you 100%, and hopefully they don't. And, I think it's a weird approach having, the main, like in the trailer, having the main, villain being the Vulture. And, like you said, I have no idea who he is, like you said, him being, a lower end villain, we'll see what this movie has to offer.
As far as looks, he is the coolest looking villain maybe I've seen in a long time in any superhero movie.
He looks great. He looks intense. He looks it all. And,
I mean, I watched that guy fight like Iron Man or Captain America. I mean, if you later on, anybody listening to this right now, go and Google an image of the Vulture, and he is like the lamest looking character ever. Like that was the only murmur about this movie. Like, really, they're doing the Vulture, and that Vulture looks badass. Like, I will watch that Vulture fight Iron Man. I mean, that's the coolest look. I'm saying looking. I mean, now you got Michael Keaton. So acting-wise, there's a good feeling there, but like as far as the look, that is a solid-looking villain right there.
Do you think Michael Keaton is going to play up to the part of the Vulture?
I think so. I think from those 2 seconds you saw him,
he's going to do good.
Yeah, he looked engaged in the part. Like, I'm doing this. I'm going to be the Vulture. I mean, it was just when he said something like, "Don't even try to get in my way." He's just like, the way that it looks like they're presenting it is, it's like he's a villain that's way out of Spider-Man's league. And it looks like what the dynamic of the movie is Iron Man's like, don't mess with this guy. And Peter's like, I'm going to mess with this guy to prove myself. So apparently Spider-Man has ambitions of being an Avenger.
Yeah.
And at some point, Iron Man's going to be like, okay, I don't know where Iron Man's going to get with him, and I don't care where. It looked good. That didn't look forced. I mean, really, I like the Tony Stark thing. I like the Iron Man thing, and it's still a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, and I mean, Spider-Man is one of the greatest characters, so they definitely have, and like you said, the second, Spider-Man, the second Amazing Spider-Man was like a total flop. So I mean, they have kind of a lot, I feel, to come, back from. They really have to do this one right.
Mm-hmm. No, right now, Marvel hasn't done really wrong so far. Like, too bad.
Because who was that? Who was that last? Who was the Amazing Spider-Man? Who made that?
That was, well, okay. The first 2 trilogies were Sony movies. So what happened was, a long time ago, Marvel was going bankrupt, and they sold off the movie rights to X-Men. They sold X-Men to Fox, and they sold Spider-Man to Sony. And what happened was, X-Men came first, and X-Men, even looking back at it now, it's like a little dated, but X-Men was that was the first, like, hey, we have CGI technology, we're making a superhero movie. We can make these superhero movies go great. And then Spider-Man came out, and it was awesome. Now, Iron Man started when Marvel decided, hey, you know what? We still got some strong characters left. Let's start making our own movies. So now you have Marvel Studios. Now Marvel gets bought by Disney. So Marvel has this big financial powerhouse behind them. So now what happened was the second go at Spider-Man really just flopped out with that second movie. That the Jamie Foxx Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
That kind of was like, now Sony had a deal with Marvel, and the idea was, if you don't make a Spider-Man movie every few years, we take Spider-Man back. So Sony has to make a Spider-Man movie. So now they kind of burnt it twice. Now you have this strong Marvel franchise with the Avengers, so Marvel goes, listen, this is what we're going to do. Here's our deal. Let's make Spider-Man together. He's going to exist in the Marvel universe, because it's the same universe in the comics. So he'll exist in the Marvel universe. He'll be in Captain America. He'll show up in Iron Man. The exact details, I'm not sure how they worked out, how many appearances. But it's like, we Marvel Studios will make the Spider-Man movie, but we're going to split the distribution cost with Sony, or we're going to split the earnings with Sony. So it's a win-win for everybody, because Marvel now has Spider-Man in, like, that's why the movie's called Homecoming. Spider-Man's home with Marvel. Spider-Man exists in that universe now. But Sony will still make money off of Spider-Man, and they're probably going to have a better shot now than they would have without Marvel. Because if they blew it again, Marvel would just take them back. Right now, Sony had to leverage, like, let's split the money. Let's work out this deal now. And that's how this deal went down. And right now, this looks like the strongest Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw this and didn't see Iron Man and didn't know of any other Spider-Man movie, I'd be like, that looks awesome. I want to go see that.
Yeah. It definitely looks great.
Yeah. And they got a younger kid. He's in high school. I mean, not Tom Holland. Who is Tobey Maguire. I mean, he really didn't look like, he was like 35. He's playing a high school kid. You know, Andrew
really
Garfield was good. I mean, he was younger, but it was just that gothy thing. It was just a little too much. I wouldn't even say overly too much. Just a little too much.
Yeah. And like, it's what do you think really blew it in that second Amazing Spider-Man movie? Was it like the villain? Was it what?
It was, I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 almost had the same problem as Spider-Man 3. It's not too many villains. It's too many villains with too complex storylines you're trying to weave around. I mean, Electro's the main villain. And then you cram in Harry Osborn in one movie?
Yeah.
Harry Osborn, even if they blew in a third movie in the first trilogy, you can't take a 3-movie storyline and shove it in one. Like, oh, his dad's dying. You don't know what Norman's going to do. Here's Harry. He came back into town. He's the Green Goblin within an hour. They crammed everything in there. The thing I liked about Amazing Spider-Man was I really liked the dynamic between Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. That was Emma Stone. That was better than Mary Jane thought. I thought Gwen Stacy, the character, and Gwen Stacy, the actress, and the dynamic with Spider-Man, all that stuff, the love interest, the whole package, I like that better in Spider-Man 2. But guess what? You killed her. So what is it? It's over. That was the best part of the movie, was Gwen Stacy, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe they could have done a third one and been okay, but they were probably just looking at the numbers somewhere, and it's like I bet Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't perform as well as the first Spider-Man 2. And Sony was like, we got to make a decision here. Because you're going to invest millions of dollars to make this Spider-Man movie, and you don't know. It's like, is my audience engaged? Are they going to stay? The Marvel deal.
Do they want to watch this movie?
Yeah, I think the Marvel deal was a sure thing. It's like, we'll make the movie, we'll give you half the money. Because either that, or you're going to blow it, and we're just going to take back Spider-Man, and he's ours. So
at the end of the day, Marvel Yeah.
See, I think X-Men, I don't think that's going to happen with X-Men. I don't know, because that X-Men had those 2 trilogies. There was like the first trilogy with the original X-Men, and
Yeah.
they did good. The third one was kind of weak, and then they rebooted it. The first one was, it's okay. And Days of Future Past was awesome. Now, did you see Apocalypse?
No, I did not see Apocalypse.
Okay,
I've seen Days of Future Past.
I saw Apocalypse. Apocalypse was great, but it also kind of closed the trilogy. So I don't know where they're gonna go from there. But they still have Deadpool, and Deadpool was awesome. I mean, Deadpool was groundbreaking. So I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
And now both Deadpool and X-Men. Now those were both Marvel Studio productions.
No, they're both Marvel comic characters. So in the comic books, like Deadpool has hung out with Spider-Man, and Deadpool has hung out with the Avengers. They're all the same world. But because when Marvel sold off the X-Men rights, Deadpool is considered an X-Men character.
Because I remember Deadpool was in one of the X-Men movies. Ryan Reynolds played as Deadpool with his mouth, his head shaved, and I forgot which X-Men movie that was.
It was one where Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And it was that was crazy. That was the biggest. That is almost historical. The comeback of that. It was like the character was poorly portrayed, and even Ryan Reynolds knew it. Do you know how Deadpool actually happened? Like how it actually came to be?
No, I have no idea.
Ryan Reynolds was pushing the fans for it. He was like, I want to do a Deadpool movie, and I want to do it right. I want to be in the full suit. I want to be making the jokes. I want to be doing exactly what Deadpool does in the comics. In the comics, he does the same thing. He talks to the audience. He doesn't take himself seriously. And he made this demo reel with a bunch of production buddies. That scene where he jumps off the bridge and he's fighting everybody in the truck.
Yeah.
He actually filmed that scene with some blue screen and a bunch of like production buddies. It went viral on YouTube, and just Fox was like, this thing is blowing up too big. Because some people were like, is this happening? Like, what is this? And they actually reenacted that same scene in the movie. So Ryan Reynolds virally through YouTube saved the character and made that happen. He made that whole movie happen.
That's crazy.
And now he's got some juice behind him, because there's a character called Cable that in the comics, he's in X-Force and X-Men. And he has a tight relationship with Deadpool. They're enemies, they're friends. But whatever it is there was an argument over the casting of Cable. And Ryan Reynolds was just not agreeing with the director. And the director got fired from the thing. Because Ryan Reynolds said, like, I'm not blowing this again. If you were a serious comics nerd and you watch Wolverine, the consensus in the public is they ruined Deadpool. They really wasted the character. Because what you saw in the Deadpool movie is what he's supposed to be. That's why everybody didn't like his portrayal in the Wolverine movie. Ryan Reynolds saved that character, and that X-Men franchise has saved itself.
That's pretty intense.
Future Past.
I think Ryan Reynolds honestly played such a good Deadpool in that movie. I mean, Deadpool was such a good movie, and hearing your explanation of things, it's pretty cool. Like hearing that Ryan Reynolds did stay the Deadpool character.
Oh yeah, he made that movie happen like by himself. He had like a passion for the character, and apparently he was a big comics reader. And he's like, no, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it right. And he made that happen. And like, I'm really excited about Deadpool 2, but that might be enough for Fox. I don't know if you'll ever see X-Men do the same thing that Spider-Man did. I think X-Men has always had a pretty solid thing going. And every time they kind of fumble a little bit, they pick the ball back up again.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Fox also owns Fantastic Four. So what I'm not sure about is, do they have that same deal with Fantastic Four? That's a Marvel property, is Fantastic Four. But I don't even know if Marvel.
Then what was the last Four?
There was the first one with Jessica Alba. There was 2 movies there. There was Fantastic Four, and then there was Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Chris Evans was in it. The guy who plays Captain America now, that was the Human Torch. So they made 2 movies, and the second one with the Silver Surfer was kind of a flop. Then they rebooted it, And I've never seen the new Fantastic Four, and everybody tells me like it's a waste of time, dude. It is awful. And I'm still gonna see it just to get my own thoughts about it, but they're definitely done with Silver Surfer. So what I'm curious is, does Marvel even want them? I mean, I don't know how interesting those characters are, but they made Doctor Strange, like in the comics. I've never read Doctor Strange. I always thought he was lame. That movie, did you see Doctor Strange? That was awesome. That was really good. That was solid. I would say it was better than Ant-Man. I don't know if you saw Ant-Man, but it was like solid character. I don't know if they could say Fantastic Four. They're just like, as far as I'm concerned, they're pretty lame. I mean, I'm sure somebody's fans of the Fantastic Four, but I just don't see how you make those characters cool.
Yeah.
But I would say the same thing about Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Ace, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, Joe. You know it. You know, this Spider-Man movie definitely does look really good. I think that the Tony Stark thing in it is really cool, and this Vulture character is really intriguing to me.
The villain is interesting, Spider-Man's interesting, and the dynamic with Tony Stark looks great. It doesn't look forced. It looks really interesting.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a solid movie.
I agree 100%. And I cannot wait to see it.